Are you eating what you've always believed is healthy, but the weight around your belly just won't go away? You're cutting calories, you're trying to stay active, maybe you've even reduced sugar, and yet that stubborn abdominal fat, what we call visceral fat, keeps building. Here's the truth that most people, especially seniors, are never told. It's not just about how much you eat. It's about what your body is doing with what you eat. And more importantly, it's about inflammation. Because that deep belly fat, it's not just extra weight. It's biologically active. It's inflammatory. It's sending signals throughout your body that disrupt your metabolism, your hormones, your energy levels, and even your brain. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, several key systems start to shift. Your insulin becomes less sensitive. Your liver becomes more congested. Your cortisol, your stress hormone, stays elevated longer, and your body becomes more prone to chronic, low-grade inflammation. Now imagine your metabolism like a fireplace. When you were younger, you could throw almost anything into that fire, carbs, sugars, late-night meals, and it would burn clean. But now, the system is slower, more fragile, and if you put the wrong fuel in, especially foods that spike insulin and trigger inflammation, instead of burning clean energy, your body produces smoke. That smoke is inflammation. And that inflammation tells your body, store more fat, burn less energy, protect the belly area. That's why visceral fat becomes so stubborn, especially after 50 or 60. But here's the empowering part. Certain foods can actually reverse this process. Yes, not by starving yourself, but by activating your metabolism, calming inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, and helping your body finally access and burn stored fat again. Think of it like switching from dirty fuel to clean-burning fuel. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what to eat, and more importantly, why it works, so you can finally start reducing visceral fat, lowering inflammation, and restoring your energy. Because this isn't about dieting, this is about fixing the root cause, and once you understand that, everything changes. I'm Dr. Michael Anderson, a health specialist, and every day I create content like this to help seniors stay fit, healthy, and full of energy. My goal is to give you simple, science-backed tools you can actually use in daily life. Let's start with the most important driver of stubborn belly fat in seniors: insulin resistance. Because if you don't understand this, nothing else will fully work. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates or sugar, your body releases a hormone called insulin. Now, insulin is not bad. In fact, it's essential. Its job is simple. Take sugar out of your bloodstream. Deliver it into your cells for energy. But here's the problem. When insulin is elevated too often, which is very common as we age, your cells start to stop listening. This is what we call insulin resistance. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine insulin is a key, and your cells are doors. When you're healthy, insulin opens those doors easily, and glucose enters smoothly. But over time, due to frequent eating, processed foods, and chronic inflammation, those doors become rusty. Now insulin has to knock harder, so your body produces more and more insulin to get the same job done. And here's where it becomes dangerous. Because insulin doesn't just move sugar, it also tells your body to store fat, especially visceral fat, the deep abdominal fat around your organs. So if your insulin is constantly elevated, your body is receiving a continuous signal: do not burn fat. Store fat instead. This is why many seniors feel like their metabolism is broken. It's not broken, it's being blocked. What the research shows is that even moderately elevated insulin levels can shut down fat burning completely, especially in the abdominal region. And even worse, insulin also drives inflammation. So now you have a double problem. You're storing fat, and you're inflamed, which makes fat even harder to burn. That's why cutting calories alone doesn't work. Because if insulin stays high, you'll lose muscle. Your metabolism slows down and your body holds onto visceral fat even more tightly. Now here's the key shift. If you lower insulin, your body regains access to stored fat. This is where everything starts to change. What you can do. Practical protocol. Let's bring this into real, simple action. Step 1. Reduce frequent eating. Every time you eat, insulin rises. So instead of eating 5 to 6 times a day, try this. Move toward 2 to 3 meals per day. Avoid constant snacking. This alone can significantly reduce insulin levels over time. Step 2. Focus on low insulin foods. Not all calories are equal when it comes to insulin. Prioritize healthy fats, olive oil, avocados, nuts, clean proteins, eggs, fish, chicken, fiber-rich vegetables, spinach, broccoli, zucchini. Reduce sugar, refined carbs, white bread, biscuits, rice in excess, processed snacks. Step 3. Try a simple fasting window. You don't need anything extreme. Start with 12 to 14 hours overnight fasting. For example, finish dinner at 7 p.m. Eat breakfast at 9 a.m. This gives your insulin time to drop and allows your body to start tapping into fat stores. Step 4. Add movement after meals. Even a short walk, 10 to 15 minutes after eating, can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity and reduce blood sugar spikes. Now here's the most important takeaway I want you to remember. You don't burn fat when insulin is high. You burn fat when insulin comes down. So instead of focusing only on calories, start focusing on controlling insulin, and you'll finally unlock your body's ability to burn visceral fat. And if this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you take control of your health naturally. Now that you understand how insulin locks your body into fat storage, we need to talk about the second major driver of visceral fat in seniors: chronic inflammation. Because even if you start improving insulin, if inflammation stays high, your body will still resist fat loss. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Inflammation is not always bad. In fact, it's a natural defense mechanism. If you cut your finger, inflammation helps you heal. But the problem today is something very different: low-grade chronic inflammation, the kind that stays in your body 24/7 without you even noticing. And this is extremely common as we age. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a house with a fire alarm system. In a healthy state, the alarm only goes off when there's a real fire. But with chronic inflammation, the alarm never turns off. It's constantly ringing in the background. And over time, that constant alarm signal begins to disrupt everything. Your metabolism slows down, your hormones become imbalanced, your cells become more insulin resistant, and your body shifts into protection mode. And what does protection mode do? It stores fat, especially around your organs. That's visceral fat. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. Visceral fat itself produces inflammation. So this creates a vicious cycle. Inflammation, more fat storage, more fat, more inflammation. And this loop keeps reinforcing itself. That's why it feels so hard to break out of. What the research shows. Studies in metabolic health consistently show that individuals with higher levels of inflammatory markers, like C-reactive protein, CRP, have higher amounts of visceral fat, lower fat-burning capacity, increased insulin resistance. In other words, inflammation doesn't just come with weight gain, it actively drives it. The hidden triggers of inflammation. Now let's make this practical. What's actually causing this chronic inflammation in seniors? The biggest drivers are 1. Refined carbohydrates and sugar. These spike insulin and create oxidative stress. 2. Processed seed oils, like soybean, corn, canola in excess. These are high in omega-6 fats, which promote inflammatory pathways when unbalanced. 3. Poor gut health. An unhealthy gut allows inflammatory compounds to leak into the bloodstream. 4. Chronic stress. Elevated cortisol keeps your body in a constant inflammatory state. 5. Lack of sleep. Even one night of poor sleep can increase inflammatory markers. How to switch off inflammation. Simple protocol. Now here's the empowering part. You can start reducing inflammation very quickly with the right inputs. Let's go step by step. Step 1. Add anti-inflammatory foods daily. Think of food as information for your body. Start including fatty fish, rich in omega-3s, olive oil, turmeric, with black pepper for absorption, leafy greens, berries. These help actively turn down inflammatory signals. Step 2. Remove the biggest triggers. You don't need perfection, just reduction. Focus on cutting back. Sugary drinks and desserts, packaged snacks, deep-fried foods. Even a 30–40% reduction can make a measurable difference. Step 3. Support your gut, because your gut is a major control center for inflammation. Add fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, fiber-rich vegetables. This helps strengthen your gut barrier and reduce inflammatory leakage. Step 4. Prioritize sleep and stress control. This is often overlooked, but it's critical. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Simple stress practices: walking, breathing, sunlight exposure. Because if cortisol stays high, inflammation will stay high. Key takeaway. Let me simplify this for you. Inflammation tells your body to protect, and protection mode means store fat, burn less, slow everything down. But when you reduce inflammation, your metabolism becomes more flexible, your insulin improves, and your body finally feels safe enough to burn fat again. Now that we've addressed insulin and inflammation, let's move into something very practical and very powerful: the exact foods that signal your body to start burning visceral fat again. Because here's the truth: your body is always listening to what you eat. Every meal sends instructions: store fat or burn fat, increase inflammation or reduce it, slow metabolism or activate it. So the goal is not just to eat less. It's to eat in a way that turns your body into a fat-burning system. Here's what's really going on inside your body. There are key hormones that control whether you burn fat or store it. Insulin, we discussed, storage hormone. Glucagon, fat-burning hormone. Leptin, satiety and metabolism regulator. Adiponectin, improves fat burning and insulin sensitivity. Now here's the key. Certain foods naturally improve these hormones, especially in seniors. Let me break this down simply. Category 1. Healthy fats, the metabolic switch. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a hybrid car. It can run on 2 fuels: sugar, quick but unstable; fat, clean, steady, long-lasting. Most people are stuck in sugar-burning mode, but when you start eating healthy fats, you train your body to switch into fat-burning mode. Best options: extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts, almonds, walnuts, seeds, chia, flax. What these do: lower insulin response, increase satiety, support hormone balance. Category 2. Clean protein, the appetite controller. Protein is critical, especially for seniors, because with aging you naturally lose muscle mass, and muscle is directly linked to your metabolic rate. But protein does something else very important. It stabilizes blood sugar and reduces cravings. Best options: eggs, fish, chicken, lentils, if tolerated well. What protein does: reduces hunger hormones, supports muscle, which burns more fat at rest, prevents blood sugar spikes. Category 3. Fiber-rich vegetables, the insulin buffer. These are often underestimated, but they are essential. Vegetables act like a buffer system. They slow down the absorption of glucose and reduce insulin spikes. Best choices: spinach, broccoli, zucchini, cucumber, bitter gourd, especially powerful for blood sugar control. What they do: improve gut health, reduce inflammation, help regulate insulin. Category 4. Low-sugar antioxidants. You don't have to eliminate all carbs, but you need to choose the right ones. Berries are one of the best options. Blueberries, strawberries. These provide antioxidants that reduce inflammation. Minimal impact on blood sugar, support for brain health. The key principle: combine these foods correctly. Now here's where most people go wrong. They eat healthy foods, but in the wrong combinations. For example, eating carbs alone spikes insulin. Eating carbs with protein and fat stabilizes insulin. So instead of bread plus tea, rice alone, shift toward protein plus fat plus fiber in every meal. Example meal: grilled chicken, sautéed vegetables, olive oil drizzle. This creates a low insulin, anti-inflammatory environment in your body. Bonus tip: start your day without sugar. Your first meal sets your metabolic tone. If you start with sugar or refined carbs, you trigger insulin early. You increase cravings. You stay in fat storage mode. Instead, start with eggs plus vegetables, yogurt plus nuts. Now let's talk about something that almost no one focuses on, but it may be one of the most important factors in stubborn belly fat: your liver. Because here's the truth: you don't just gain visceral fat randomly. It is deeply connected to how well your liver is functioning. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your liver is your primary metabolic engine. It controls blood sugar regulation, fat processing, detoxification, hormone balance. Now imagine your liver like a factory. Its job is to process nutrients, package energy, and keep everything balanced. But over time, especially with high sugar intake, processed foods, frequent eating, alcohol, medications, that factory becomes overloaded. And when the liver gets overloaded, it starts converting excess sugar into fat. This process is called de novo lipogenesis, meaning creating new fat from sugar. And where does that fat go? Right into the abdominal area. This is why conditions like fatty liver are so strongly linked to visceral fat. What the research shows. Studies in metabolic health show that individuals with fatty liver tend to have higher insulin resistance, increased abdominal fat storage, greater inflammation. In other words, if your liver is sluggish, fat loss becomes extremely difficult, even if you're eating less. The hidden problem: normal, but not optimal. Here's something important for seniors. You can have normal lab results, but still have a liver that is not functioning optimally, because early liver dysfunction often goes unnoticed, and the symptoms are subtle. Difficulty losing belly fat, low energy after meals, brain fog, cravings for sugar. How to support your liver. Practical protocol. Now let's make this very actionable, because when you support your liver, you unlock your body's ability to process and burn fat properly. Step 1. Reduce sugar and refined carbs. This is non-negotiable, because excess sugar is the fastest way to overwhelm the liver. Focus on cutting sugary drinks, reducing desserts, limiting refined grains. Step 2. Add liver-supporting foods. Certain foods actively help your liver function better. Include regularly. Bitter foods like bitter gourd, arugula, garlic, turmeric, green tea. These help stimulate liver enzymes and improve detox pathways. Step 3. Try short fasting windows. Remember this, the liver heals when insulin is low, so when you introduce 12 to 16-hour fasting windows, your liver gets a break from constant processing and begins to burn stored fat, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce internal fat accumulation. Step 4. Stay hydrated. Your liver depends on proper hydration to function efficiently. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water daily. Simple but powerful. Step 5. Consider key nutrients. Certain nutrients are especially helpful. Choline, found in eggs, helps move fat out of the liver. Magnesium supports metabolic processes. B vitamins, essential for energy and detox. Now let's talk about something that often surprises people. When you eat may be just as important, or even more important, than what you eat, because you can be eating the right foods. But if you're eating at the wrong times, you can still keep insulin elevated, inflammation active, and fat storage turned on. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism is not constant throughout the day. It follows a biological rhythm, often called your circadian rhythm. This internal clock affects insulin sensitivity, digestion hormone release, fat burning efficiency. And here's the key insight. Your body is naturally better at handling food earlier in the day and worse at handling it late at night. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a bank. During the day, your body is open for business. It processes nutrients efficiently, but late at night, that bank starts to close. Now, if you keep depositing food, especially carbohydrates, when the system is slowing down, your body struggles to process it. And what happens? Blood sugar rises higher, insulin stays elevated longer, and more of that energy gets stored as fat, especially visceral fat. What the research shows. Studies on time-restricted eating and circadian biology show that late-night eating is strongly associated with increased abdominal fat. Early eating patterns improve insulin sensitivity. Compressing your eating window helps reduce inflammation and support fat loss. In simple terms, your body wants periods of eating and periods of not eating. Constant eating disrupts that balance. Common mistake. Seniors make many people think, as long as I eat less, timing doesn't matter. But here's the problem. If you snack late at night, eat dinner very late, or eat continuously throughout the day, you keep insulin elevated for too long, and remember, you cannot burn fat when insulin is high. How to use meal timing to your advantage. Let's turn this into a simple, effective protocol. Step 1. Create a daily eating window. Start with 10-12-hour eating window. For example, first meal at 8 a.m., last meal at 6 p.m. Over time, you can gently move toward 8 to 10-hour window. Step 2. Avoid late-night eating. This is one of the most powerful changes you can make. Try to finish your last meal 2-3 hours before sleep. This allows insulin to drop, digestion to complete, fat burning to begin overnight. Step 3. Front-load your nutrition. Eat more earlier in the day and lighter in the evening. Example: breakfast, protein, fat, plus fiber; lunch, balanced meal; dinner, lighter, lower in carbs. Step 4. Stop constant snacking. Every snack notches insulin spike. Instead, eat full, satisfying meals. Allow gaps between meals. This gives your body time to switch into fat-burning mode. Now let's bring everything together. Because information is powerful, but execution is what changes your body. So instead of leaving you with scattered advice, I'm going to give you a simple, repeatable daily protocol that targets insulin, inflammation, liver function, fat-burning hormones. This is where everything connects. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism responds to patterns, not perfection. So what you do consistently every day matters far more than what you do occasionally. Think of this like programming your body. Every day through your habits, you're either telling your body, store fat and stay inflamed, or burn fat and stay balanced. This protocol helps you send the right signals, consistently. Morning routine. Set the metabolic tone. When you wake up, your body is naturally in a low insulin state. This is a powerful window. Start with water. Hydration supports liver function. Optional, light movement or a short walk. Sunlight exposure helps regulate your circadian rhythm. Now here's a key strategy. Delay your first meal by 1 to 2 hours if comfortable. This gently extends your fasting window and enhances fat burning. First meal. Stabilize your system. Your first meal should not spike your blood sugar. Instead, it should anchor your metabolism. Best structure, protein, plus healthy fats, plus fiber. Examples: eggs cooked in olive oil, plus vegetables, yogurt, plus nuts, plus seeds. This helps keep insulin stable, reduce cravings later, improve energy consistency. Midday, keep the system active after your meals, especially lunch. Take a 10-15-minute walk. This simple habit improves insulin sensitivity, reduces blood sugar spikes, supports digestion. Also during the day, stay hydrated. Avoid mindless snacking. Evening, lower the load. Your last meal should be lighter and easier to process. Focus on protein, vegetables, healthy fats. Try to reduce heavy carbs at night, and most importantly, finish eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. This allows your body to lower insulin, shift into fat-burning mode overnight. Night routine, recovery and repair. This is when your body heals. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Because poor sleep raises cortisol, increases inflammation, promotes fat storage. You can also include magnesium, if appropriate. A calm, low-light environment. Let's take a step back and connect everything you've learned today, because this is where real transformation begins. You came here looking for a way to lose stubborn belly fat, but what you've actually discovered is something much more powerful: how your body truly works. Here's the truth most people never hear. Visceral fat is not just about eating too much. It's a signal that insulin is staying too high, inflammation is constantly active, the liver is overloaded, and your metabolic rhythm is out of sync. So instead of fighting your body with extreme diets, you start working with it. Let's quickly recap the key shifts. You learned that insulin controls fat storage, and lowering it unlocks fat burning. You saw how inflammation traps your body in survival mode. You discovered that certain foods activate fat-burning hormones. You understood the critical role of your liver in processing and storing fat. And you realized that meal timing creates the conditions for fat loss. And then, we brought it all together into a simple daily system you can actually follow. Now here's the most important part. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to start. Because your body responds very quickly when you give it the right signals. Even small changes can begin to reduce bloating, improve energy, stabilize blood sugar, and slowly shrink visceral fat. Let me leave you with a simple challenge. Pick just one change from today's video. Maybe it's removing late-night snacks, adding protein to your first meal, taking a short walk after eating, or extending your overnight fasting window. Start there, stay consistent, and observe how your body responds. Because when you shift the root cause, the results take care of themselves.